Today, we are joined by the legendary Dean Fraser, one of Jamaica's most distinguished saxophonists, arrangers, and musical directors. For decades, Dean has been the soulful horn behind some of the greatest Jamaican recordings. He has also shared countless stages and studio sessions with the legendary Dr. Jimmy Cliff. We are speaking of an icon meeting another icon here. Dean, welcome. For some strange reasons, when I think of you being the little brother of Dr. Jimmy Cliff, a man of worth. You are accomplished, yet humble and full of moral and ethical values. And you are so manly.
Well, thank you.
I want to use this opportunity as well to express how proud we are of you and how humbled we are to speak with you about the legendary Dr. Jimmy Cliff.
Yes, well, give thanks. This is an honor for me too, because I've been working with Jimmy quite a number of years, and I am really humbled, by this request. So, give thanks and you can go ahead,
Thank you, Dean. So you worked with virtually every major Jamaican artist, but Dr. Jimmy Cliff stands out in a class of his own. Do you remember the first time you met him or played alongside him? And what was that moment like?
My first time working with Jimmy Cliff, I may have been about 17 or 18 years of age.
Wow.
Yes, and I was a member of the Sonny Bradshaw 7 band, and we did a function at the Carib Theatre, but Dr. Cliff was the main act. Sonny Bradshaw had made a special arrangement of Many Rivers to Cross, and we played that song for Jimmy that evening. And I remember him coming out in full white and just nailing the song, It was just like next to excellence, So that was my first encounter. And, for years as a young musician, I actually entered the music scene. I debuted like Harder They Come, like at the same time. And most of the musicians in my band at the time worked alongside Jimmy Cliff. So, they were always talking about Jimmy. And, and as a youngster, I watched the movie and all of that. And so, I was like very impressed and excited to be one of this man's musician on stage. So that was really my first encounter.
I can imagine. What stood out about him and his personality?
I didn't get a chance yet with when it comes to the personality, but Jimmy just stand out all the time. His whole demeanor, his performance was just like, it just cut through. His voice was just cutting, and you had to pay attention to him when he started. He was never one of those singers that you would be in a room and he started to sing and you would be talking and having a drink. When he started to sing, you would have had to pay attention.
Yes, he commanded the audience. Yes.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. What was it like being on tour with him during those years?
I toured with Jimmy, late 90s it was, and it wasn't a very long tour. I wasn't one of his touring musicians. What Jimmy Cliff did to me was, I was at Edna Manley as a young musician, at Edna Manley College, and Jimmy Cliff was doing his album. As a youngster, he asked me to pen the horn parts on his album. So I remember penning the horn parts for Treat the Youth Right and another song called Special. This was just, I basically had to pinch myself because I was doing horn arrangements for Jimmy Cliff. And I was also, doing my schoolwork at the time. So I scored these two songs, the horn parts, and, we went to Channel One, myself, Number Robinson, late Number Robinson, and David Madden and Chico Chin. And, I had made my little charts and put them in front of, so this was like a Quincy Jones thing for me personally. And, this was really exciting. And I just had to lift my hat to Jimmy, for giving me this kind of opportunity because, it went out there that I did these arrangements for these songs, and it became a big thing in the music business.
So at what point did you travel with him?
I remember traveling with him to play at the White House for, was it Condoleezza Rice? Yes, we did. We did that, and another show somewhere in America. But we did those two concerts, alongside him, and I remember hanging with him afterwards. We flew together down into Florida, and we just hung out for the whole week. And it was just exciting. Me just, being there beside Jimmy Cliff, going through the daily routine and everything. And, this was nice. I remember playing at the big festival in Montego Bay, also with Jimmy. It was a big festival, and I remember playing with him, and it was just exciting, really exciting.
Did you travel with him to Europe?
No, I did. I never did Europe or anywhere else with him. I just did some American dates with him, and I played with him in Jamaica. Okay. Never did Europe. Yeah.
He had a unique way of blending reggae, ska, soul, and world music. As a saxophonist and an arranger, how did this musical style influence your own approach to music?
Well, basically, you have to understand. I think Jimmy Cliff may have been our first superstar. You understand me? And his influence on the music caught me from a youngster. A little boy. The music, the kind of music that he was doing was out of the box. He was doing reggae, but it sounded like high life music. It sounded like African music. It had this broad scope about it, and I matched Jimmy Cliff's voice to an African singer called Salif Keita, right? I've always thought of Jimmy Cliff when I hear Salif Keita, and I think that's where Jimmy Cliff took his music. It went on the level where, the Africans had to relate to it. So, when it went into America, all of these great American raps and all of that had to relate to this man's music and his writing, his style of writing, And he was talking about Vietnam and rebel and harder they come, and yet he was doing wonderful world, beautiful people. He was on all these topics that the world needed. These are just, some of the things that really made me just didn't know at that time, basically, that this man, music, burst all borders. It gone over everywhere. You understand me?
Yes. So he had a far-reaching influence across the world.
Yeah, man. Every barrier, man.
He delved into philosophy, education, politics, culture, everything.
And love. Just
love
of the common people. You understand me?
Yes.
He never hold back, and Jimmy Cliff is very positive, and believe in himself and his music, So, with that kind of attitude, you're going to break down all barriers, trust me.
Absolutely. I recall in my interview with Tessan Chin, she said she attended the University of Dr. Jimmy Cliff.
Yes.
Because just by being on tour with him, she learned so much that she was able to take those positive values and onto the international stage when she won The Voice in 2013 in the United States.
She would have, because she had gone to good school, so she would have.
Absolutely.
But I don't even describe it as school or college.
Yes.
My thing is that Jimmy was just my idol.
Yes.
Yeah. Jimmy became my new idol, you know, because outside of music, we sat in the studios, you know, when we recorded a lot of songs. And I was also one of the producers on his last album. And we spent a lot of time in the studios, both here and in the US. And, you know, he taught me so much outside of music, you know, and we are talking about politics, spirituality, you know, religion and you know, just the world
Yes.
over.
Yes.
You know, and you have to realize that the doc now just talk this in him, live it.
Him live it. Yes.
Him live it. So him not Jimmy not just talk about say, boy, outside cold. Him go outside without shirt and him can tell you say outside. You understand me I say? So I personally developed a great relationship with him, and I mean, he has a very talented daughter who sings, and of course, you know, I am the person who sits with her and make sure her vocals are, you know, quite right. You understand me? So this is the kind of this is the kind of way that me and him live, the kind of relationship, right? And me personally, I am honored in every way to have been part of this man's journey. You understand me? Because you can't go through this or be around the dock and not learn something. You must learn something after you leave Jimmy Cliff.
Absolutely, absolutely. Would you mind sharing a little bit on his last album? You mentioned it.
Well, I remember working on maybe about 6 tracks with him. It's mostly vocal arrangements and about 6 tracks with him. And we started here in Jamaica at his studio in New Kingston at Sun Power, and we were not able to finish at the time. So maybe a month or 2 later, we went to Circle House, Inner Circle Studio in Miami, where we sat there for like another 3-4 days and worked on these voices, you know, and came out pretty well. We were able to, you know, do a nice job. So I'm hoping that, you know, people will be able to really listen to this album now and you know, get a chance to hear what happened in the later days.
Thank you very much. Dean, your words today have painted a vivid picture of Dr. Cliff's spirit and greatness.
Yep.
Thank you very much for honoring his legacy, and just hope for the best for you in your career. And we feel blessed to have had Jimmy Cliff as a Jamaican and a part of the world.
So true, so true. As we were saying before, this is one of the greatest feelings to have trod the road with this brethren. You know, we have learned a lot, and, you know, we continue to apply things that he did say, and you know, he was doing, and we apply it both in spirit and we apply it in the music, of course, because the music is never ending. His music is just right across the board. It shook down all boundaries. You know, and so we have to just say we give thanks for him and we give thanks for his life, you know?
Yes. Thank you. Thank you so much, Dean. Thanks for spending time with us.
You're welcome.
Have a great afternoon. Bless you.
You too. No, just take good care. Yeah, man.
Thank you. Bless you. Bye-bye.